we raised our arms up like this in gratitude to the people of Mexico who have been so welcoming and kind to us. We can see very clearly, just in the short time that we're here, that this will be a wonderful place to do business.
We're here in Mexico with the Indigenous Critical Infrastructure Fund. Chief Matthew gave us a sense about why he put this in place, but I'm just so delighted we have Frank Bush here. Frank Bush, I'm going to tell you who are viewers a bit about Frank Bush. You don't have to describe yourself. I'm going to do all the bragging about you. Frank is he's a Cree, and you know when you look at nations from the Arctic Ocean all the way down to the south of South America, it doesn't matter if you're a Kimbaya or you're a Guarani or you're from you're Aztec or you're Mayan or you're Navajo or you're Apache or you're Cree or you're Shuswap. The whole idea is they're all indigenous and they're all related. And so we don't understand what that means. Frank has sort of established himself in his bona fides as somebody who likes to educate. He's an author. He's written a really interesting book, and I want to talk a bit about that today too. But he's the Director General of the Indigenous Critical Infrastructure Fund. So Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I come from a small community in central Canada called the Nitchis-Wayasi Cree Nation. I'd like to bring greetings of peace and love to all the viewers, and thank you for taking the time to let me introduce myself a little bit. I've worked in the field of finance with First Nations for the last 20 years, and I've gotten to learn quite a lot and gotten to visit a lot of communities. I've been to just over 275 of our villages across Canada, from coast to coast to coast, even into the Arctic Circle. And it's just been a very wonderful experience being able to meet the people. But I think why we all got together, as you know, like Chief Matthews, I too grew up poor. And I know how difficult it can be to be in that scenario. So we have made great inroads in Canada as Indigenous people, and it's been a long, hard battle we've had for many years. But we've now gotten to the point where we're able to start rebuilding our wealth. And you know, and Chief Matthews' guidance that if we start rebuilding wealth and we start becoming more prosperous, we cannot leave our other Indigenous brothers and sisters behind, wherever they may be, because they're our relatives. And there's no sense in being wealthy if you can't share it with your relatives.
That's great, Frank. So you're the Director General, which is really another way of saying you're the CEO of the fund. Yes. So as Chief Matthew is the chairman, so he runs a board, and the board looks at oversight and all those kinds of things. And I think we know that intuitively, and our viewers understand when you look at a chairman and a board. But when you look at you in the context of what you do or deliver for the fund at the quote-unquote management level, tell us what it is you're supposed to do.
I guess I have to, my job is to put all the pieces together. So I take guidance from the board of directors, from our chairman, and then I deliver. So I start looking at how are we going to do this? How will it be done? When will it be done? So I get all that together, and we've assembled a great team, really great advisors, some who I look to even as mentors, because we're breaking new ground here. This is very new. Mm-hmm. You know, we've been managing poverty for most of our colonial history. Mm-hmm. But prior to that, our Indigenous people were the wealthiest on earth. And in this place, it's so wonderful to be in Mexico City, formerly Tenochtitlan, which was the wealthiest place on earth for many, many years. And I'd like to see it return to that.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Frank, I have a question for you and also to Chief Matthew. I can see that you're very well dressed. Are those shirts coming from Canada, or how did you get those shirts?
No, they're made right here in Mexico, and we're a wonderful gift from our visit today to the Congress. So this is, you know, we try to refuse gifts from the government of Canada, but we were very happy to receive gifts from the government of Mexico. So.
Tell me about the gifts that you're wearing today.
So I didn't learn all the details, but this particular bracelet, it was given to me by one of the Indigenous congressmen, and he said it's a protection in their culture to keep me safe. And I really enjoyed that because, you know, we come somewhere new, there's always a bit of nervousness because we don't know our way around, but this is protecting me.
So the noise that we hear right now, that it was something that is happening in the studio, is we're well protected because you're wearing that?
Yes.
I feel
so.
So
we're all fine because.
So here we are, we're in Mexico City, and you've had an opportunity, Chief, to address members of the what they call the Chamber of Deputies. You did that yesterday, which was remarkable, and I think we're all emotional about that. And then there have been some discussions too, Frank, and I think you've had a hand in looking at what kind of projects would be ideal for the fund to look at here in Mexico and why. You know, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about too, Guillermo, is just that Mexico is just so open to this kind of an opportunity between indigenous in Canada, or just indigenous, and indigenous and Mexico, and Mexicans here in Mexico.
Mark, we say that the first item of the agenda in common ground or Punto Medio is to find understanding. Is that right?
Yes.
So right now, I would like to, if you don't mind, I would like to suggest that the second item of the agenda of Punto Medio is create the proper context.
Right.
So for friends that they are not Mexicans and they're not used to the Mexican tradition, when we're saying that it's the Chamber of Deputies, mainly is the Congress of Mexico. So it means the Congress people, then they're taking decisions and they're deciding, and also they're representing all the country of Mexico. For that reason, it's very important to mention that the first contact of the fund, it wasn't with politicians. It wasn't with bureaucrats. It wasn't with public servants. The first contact has been done with the representatives of Mexico, the Mexican people. And I think
that's a great point.
That is remarkable. Number two, then I would like to say, and actually, yesterday we had a fantastic session in the Congress, and I would ask Frank about his comments, because yesterday we have like a work meeting. It was an open work meeting with members of this chamber, and they were very receptive. But today I think that you got like a special recognition. I'm Mexican. I was born and raised here in Mexico. And let me tell you something. It's the first time that I have been in the floor of the chamber, and also the first time that I have been in the tribune. I mean, the place where is the maximum power of the people. And you were invited of that.
Yes,
So,
and what a great honor that was. And it was very awesome to be welcomed in like that. And I think the message that we wanted to convey at that time, and also to the people of Latin America, is that as Indigenous peoples from Canada, we wish you health, wealth, and love. It's all we want for ourselves, and it's what we want for you as well.
And for the people of Canada, which would be your message, Frank?
That we need to stop building walls and start opening our arms to our Indigenous brothers and sisters in Mexico and in Latin America.
Final question for you. When we were in the floor and we were in the tribune, I mean like the highest, on the place where the director and the president of the chamber is located, I saw you, and also Chief Matthew, and actually it's documented, and I think that we'll have some photo shooting. So you were doing something. So
Yes.
could you tell me about that?
I know what you're going to
Yes.
say.
Yes.
That's actually great.
Yeah, so I'd never seen such large flags in my life. So two giant flags of Mexico, and we were told the story of how the Mexican flag came to be, you know, that they decided to found the city where, based on a vision. This is so important in our culture, and the vision of an eagle eating a snake on a cactus. And we saw those two giant flags. We raised our arms up like this in gratitude to the people of Mexico who have been so welcoming and kind to us. We can see very clearly, just in the short time that we're here, that this will be a wonderful place to do business.
So let me, thank you for saying that. It's a good segue. So what is, Frank, if you look at, you know, an outcome or a goal from this trip, do you see, or can you foresee, investment opportunity between the Indigenous Critical Infrastructure Fund and Mexico?
Absolutely, and I think it fits in really well. I don't know all the complexities of the politics, but I understand, you know, that you know, the people of Mexico and the Mexican government are undergoing the fourth transition, and they told me the history of how that was working, and I really love that idea of putting poor people first, because that's who we are. We've done well in our lives now, but it always wasn't that way. And any of our Indigenous people who are suffering, who need opportunity, we want to help create as many of those opportunities as possible.
So we had a host today. It was Diputado Alejandro Robles.
Yes.
So if you are so kind to share with us the kind of welcoming reception that you have, and also the work that has been done by Diputado Robles and also his staff. By the way, behind the camera is a key person, a key player that has been assisting us, Octavio, and he has been fantastic. So I think that we will invite Octavio next delivering, but tell us about your experience. But everything has been fantastic. But you told me that you don't like Mexican avocado. And Mexican is not.
That's true.
You
That's
say
true.
that you don't like it.
That is true. I don't like avocado. I love Mexican avocado. No, it's been such a wonderful experience. They rolled out the red carpet for us. And, just between us people, we had a little joke there. We said, we've been treated better today by the government of Mexico than we've ever been treated by our own. That, of course, was just a joke, though.
Yes.
But that's how we felt. That's how the heart.
May I say something?
Yes.
The Chamber of Deputies is one of the powers. We have 3 powers here. But I think that what I would say that is more remarkable, it wasn't the government of Mexico, it was the people of Mexico.
People.
Yes. Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's one part of the government. That's right. It's one of the 3 powers. But at the end of the day, is the representation of the people.
May I say something?
Sure.
As long as you want, Chief. This is your space.
You know, what I struck by today, and I'm so blessed, like I said before, but you take a look at what's happening in the world today. And pardon me, not colonial powers, but other powers overwhelming other democracies. And we have the opportunity to come to Mexico and see democracy in action and what it means to the people. There was a vigorous debate on the floor today, and we had to wait for that, and that's fine because the people had their say. They were talking about important issues to Mexico. We love that because is Mexico deciding what's important for Mexico. It's not someone else saying, this is what's important to you. I love it.
Before we go, I would say that this space always will be open for you. It would be our pleasure to having you. But before we go, I hope that this is the first of many occasions that we will have this conversation with members of the fund and also indigenous communities in Canada and elsewhere. But you mentioned something that it was very powerful in your delivering. The Turtle Island. Could you be so kind to share with us what does that mean and also why is that important in this trip?
The belief of Turtle Island, as I understand it, is this knowledge that us as indigenous people, we have, and I mentioned it as well, how we as indigenous people have had trading routes up and down South America, Central America, Mexico, for thousands and thousands of years. And that turtle island that we mentioned, Isla de Tortuga, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the thought is that the North America and South America are a great turtle, and it was gifted to us by the Creator. And the fact that we all have to live close to that land and respect it and love it, that's the most important thing.
Because as indigenous people, the land does not belong to us, it is we that belong to the land.
And our future generations.
Yes.
We have the responsibility to look after it.
Before we go, I would like your comments, Frank. It's my understanding that it's your first time in Mexico City.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
Right? Have you been in Mexico before?
Yes, I have been, in Cancun before, so I had a wonderful opportunity to vacation.
If you're so kind to share your comments, and I don't want to put you in a difficult spot, and this is for my Canadian friends. From the Canadian perspective, Mexico sometimes considered Central America, is considered South America, and is not part of North America. So if you are so kind, after this trip and also after the experience that you have, which would be your comments and your recommendations for friends from Canada about the partnership, the business partnership that we could have. But most importantly, as we said, we're sharing the same island. So if you're so kind to share those comments with us.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I believe we are all one people. We are all brothers and sisters, and that we need to share together. Families share, right? And we are a family. So whether you're in, Canada, the U.S., Mexico, Central and South America, even the Caribbean, we're all one blood. We're all one family.
Fantastic. Chief,
May I
Chief,
add
sure.
something to that? So my elders, and I've been brought up in a traditional way for the last 31 years, they said to me that the most powerful ceremonies that we can have as Indigenous people is when we include, and you gave away your medallion to someone today.
Yes.
And that medicine wheel that was on the medallion, it had 4 different colors. It was white, black, red, and yellow. They said that the most powerful, our elders, the ones who teach us, the ones that love us, they said the most powerful ceremonies you can have is when you have all the 4 races of people together doing something similar or having, we all need to remember that. Because that medicine wheel is so powerful. I think we have most of that in the room today. So, we need to think about that moving forward. That is deep within our philosophy as Indigenous people.
Before we go, because you have to say goodbye to everybody.
I will. Go ahead.
So, but before we go, in 3 words, the outcome of this visit for you, and 3 words for you, the outcome of this visit. Please go ahead.
The democratization of wealth. That's, we want to see more people have opportunity wherever that may happen. We'd love for Latin American people to come to Canada to work. They've earned the distinction of being the hardest working people on earth.
Yes.
Right? And for Canadians, for my fellow Canadians maybe watching, when we came down here, we were very disappointed about how empty the plane was. There was only maybe 20% capacity. Canada, it's time to start coming back. Come to Mexico, enjoy this place, enjoy the hospitality of the people, and bring your money and spend it here.
Wow.
No.
What, no.
As many as you want.
No. Frank, tell us what you mean by democratization of wealth. What is that important tagline that we learned along the way?
So very specifically, it what it really means is just the idea of giving Indigenous peoples or formerly impoverished peoples a voice in the system and power in the marketplace.
There we go.
Perfect.
That's the ticket.
So there you go. Listen, I want to thank both of you very much for being on the show. It was delightful, but more importantly, Guillermo, this was a fantastic visit down here. The fact that we're doing our show in another country is fascinating too. And I want to thank you, our guests, for tuning in. Muchas gracias a todo. And we'll see you next. No, Chief, we got to go.
No. The only way I'm going to do another interview is if you invite me back here.
All right.
Gracias, We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Ciao. Good job.